All right, folks. Quick little video I wanted to create to, I'm doing a proof of concept regarding, data center switches, which are the Cisco Nexus 9Ks. I basically, just reenacting an environment, and just want to, I just want to test the failover, or, if it's true redundancy from a layer 3 perspective on the Nexuses, if there is a catastrophic failure. Catastrophic being, power outage, just a power brick on one of the Nexuses that's in a VPC, you know what I mean? Because to my understanding, it's, depending on how you configure it, which is how I configured it, it's just, got the VPC, and that's just layer 2, nothing at layer 3. So I wanted to create this, to, do this proof of concept to see if within this topology, if, something like first hop redundancy is needed for end users that that connect to, we're going to say the Nexus switches are the core switch, right? We're going to just say that for this topology. And we're going to say that PC1, right, has its IP configuration, and I can show you guys, right? And it has an IP address 172.16.0.50/24, right? And its gateway is 172.16.0.254, okay? So if we take a look, oops, wrong command. So I believe it's show interface status, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, there we go. All right, so what we got here, right? Show interface status. I have, management port. I have the VPC set up to keep it short, right? VPC is set up, and I also have a VLAN interface. And if I'm not mistaken, interface VLAN 1, that is where the, and thank you guys for being so patient. This is where the 172.16.0.254 is configured, right? And so that's the gateway for PC1, right? Now, if I go ahead and run this same command, show run interface VLAN 1, right? I see on switch 2, that I think that's where 2 came from, we have a different address, 172.16.0.253, right? So again, these Nexus switches are logically one switch from the point of view of switch 1, right? And of course, how the topology is set up, I can go ahead and show you guys, is spanning tree does come into effect. So, this is our, let me change that color. This is our root switch. This is the king, right? And this, let me change the color. This is our secondary root, right? So I went ahead and configured that, okay? And what I found, of course, is we are, of course, with every root switch, we're forwarding on all ports because it needs to be available, right? Okay, and of course, how spanning tree works whenever it does its calculation based on cost. What's the shortest cost to get to it? And of course, based on the path, we see it. Okay, switch 1 has it configured. It's shortest to there, and of course, these are the shortest ports to get to the switch, right? And so this is forwarding and on Cisco iOS switch 1, and we're blocking right here, right? So that's our topology, that's our spanning tree right there, even with our trunks configured with our VPC switches, right? So they're not stacked, they're just in a VPC, right? So they're logically one switch, but again, 2 different switches, right? And again, there is some knowledge gap because again, I'm freshly new to data center switches. So Nexus is a little bit new for me, but I didn't want that to be a crutch or a block for me to not dive into it. This is how you learn. So again, I wanted to test this theory and see what's going on. So I'm going to go ahead and do continuous pings to .254, and I want to see if, again, power failure, catastrophic failure, switch 1 goes out, what's going to happen? 172.16.0.254. Continuous pings, okay? All right, so now what I'm gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and just shut down this switch, okay? Let's do it. Boom, 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 whoops. Okay, all right, so as you guys can see, right? So switch 1 has been completely turned off. The continuous pings has beginning to fail, right? And switch 2, from a layer 3 perspective, it doesn't pick up its traffic, right? So if we had an uplink, right, to a firewall, of course, I don't think it'll pick up its traffic as well, because again, it's strictly at layer 2. What we have hard coded is something at layer 3. So I want to go ahead and implement the first hop redundancy protocol, and especially on this switch is going to be VRRP, to see if we go ahead and switch that gateway to be, instead of hard coded on just one switch, to be shared amongst the switches, has a virtual IP address that's shared between the switches, and load sharing is happening between the two switches. So let's go ahead and try this. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn back on switch 1. And by the way, guys, in my Eve environment, Nexus switches are load heavy, as you guys know. So it may take some time to go ahead and boot up. So I'm gonna go ahead and let it boot up. I'm gonna give it some time. Let me bring everything back up. I'm gonna still let the continuous pings happen. And so I'll mute myself until it comes back up. So guys, I don't like to, do labs and make it seem like it's perfect, because again, this is, I want to be realistic. So looks like I did shut down the switch, but I'm at the bootloader prompt. So I'm going to go ahead and Google and try to figure out how to boot it and see what's going on. So give me 1 second. If I can type in the right command. Oh, that's not going to work. System Ah, okay. All right. So, all right, let's take a look. So, command line, recovery, Jesus, command line, recovery, mode. Oh, good Lord. Deleting it. Boot. And okay, let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. What's going on? Ah, there we go. There we go. Okay. We have some good stuff. Okay. There we go. Okay. Let's give it a sec. Might have did it. That might have did it. Okay. All right. We're looking good. It looks like it's booting. Look, we got some good news there, but this is, again, this is a good simulation for like real world stuff. Like if we have a failure, it's like, I have to figure it out and see like, oh my goodness, what do we do? So sometimes you got to use some Google food, and try to figure out how to fix it, what have you. So luckily I use this website. I can share it. That's no problem. If I can come over here with it. 1 second, guys. Yeah. So I use this website, troubleshooting bootloader, just to go ahead and give you guys just some, real world concepts and let you guys know that I'm not perfect. And of course, mistakes do happen in labs and in the real world. That's what the lab is for. So hopefully, guys, this does come back up with the config. If not, we'll just reconfig switch one. But again, this is how a catastrophic failure looks like, right? Our end user right here, right, trying to access resources, it can't get out, right? It can't even get out to the internet, right? So we can verify that on PC one. Dude, we're getting timeouts. We don't have a gateway. I'm dying here. So, so let's go ahead and just keep waiting for Nexus Switch 1 to boot up, and let's see what's going on. So I'm going to mute myself again, okay? Hey guys, like I said before, it takes a while for the Nexus to go ahead and boot up, so it'll be a while. So let's just continue to wait and chill and see what happens. Again, real world simulation. If there's a failure, it's going to take a while to boot. Of course, a physical Nexus switch would come up way faster than this. This is just my EVE-NG environment, and it's weighing down on resources. Yep, still taking a while to see what's going on with this. So I don't want to stop it. I really do want it to fix itself. But it looks like it loaded or it's doing something in the background. But just to be safe, let me hey, can't hurt. Let's issue another reboot again. Guys, don't do this at home, or don't do this in your production environment. It doesn't help. So let's go ahead and get into the switch. And we're back at the bootloader. So I'm going to go ahead and safe bet, go ahead and wipe the switch. Also a good note too. So when I first loaded these in Eve, they did not boot up like right away. Like I literally had to wipe it when I dragged it and dropped it into Eve. At the first, wipe it so that then it can start working or what have you. So and typically wiping it and then doing something, then it worked. So we're gonna go ahead and just wait for this to go ahead and populate, boot up or what have you, then we should be good to go. And we'll just start doing the reconfiguration again. Oh, that looks good. That looks good. Okay. Yeah, guys, as you guys can see, yeah, you know, stopping it, wiping the config. Honestly, I don't know if it's an Eve thing. I don't know if it's a resource thing on my side, because I am using a desktop that's running VMware Workstation to do a PC, but to do Eve and G. But again, it's loaded up with some resources, so it's there. It's there. I think it's just a you know a thing just with my stuff. If not with my stuff, maybe with Eve, but hey, you know, it works. So we'll see. So we're gonna boot this bad boy up. We are going to use the luckily my friend, one of my friend of my good buddies in the network engineering space, Mace Windu, aka Claude. If you guys follow me on LinkedIn, it'll, you know, he shared me a good link to go ahead and look up a few things and look up how to go ahead and configure VPC and et cetera, and configure step by step with a video. And of course, I found a guide as well. So, you know, working together it works. So as you guys can see, switch one, of course, we saw this earlier, starting Nexus, VNIC, deposit into VNIC bank, trying to mount, right? And we didn't see this before. I saw this before I started the video, whenever I did wipe it and it finally came back up. So let's give it a few minutes or a few seconds, what have you. And once it gets up and it gets that prompt, I'll just go ahead and reconfigure it again. And this will be a good way we can go ahead and reconfigure it for, we can reconfigure a switch one for VRRP and put the virtual address on there. So yeah, we'll do that. But first we'll configure VPC first. Okay, looks like it's coming. It's coming. All right, looks like, yeah, that's weird, man. I don't know why it does that, but it's all good. It's all good, you know, as a techie, you gotta just figure it out, right? So I'll reconfigure it, you know, and actually you guys will get to see a sneak peek if you guys haven't already seen it before, you know, the how to configure, you know, VPC and stuff like that. One thing, if I can vent real quick, one thing I love about the Nexus switches is you're a true admin, right? So it's like yeah, on the Catalyst, you have to, go ahead and go to global configuration mode. Of course, that's after being in privileged exec mode and putting in configuration terminal or config T. And then you'll be able to configure the device, right? So, I'm sorry, configure the router or the switch, right? With this, it's different, right? You'll still use config T, but if it's a specific technology, LACP, right, VPC, right, or an SVI, right, a VLAN interface, you have to enable that feature, right? So I kind of like that. So you guys will see it. I'm gonna speed through it because I know this video is getting kind of lengthy. It was meant to be like 10 minutes to do a proof of concept, but it's all good. The person that needs to see this, I hope he sits through it and he sees, he kind of sees, of course, my one, troubleshooting techniques, and also two, he sees the benefits of, implementing a first hop redundancy protocol like VRRP in this scenario. So I'm going to mute myself real quick, wait for it to fully load up, and then I'll mute myself and we'll walk through it. All right, cool. All right, I can get off Twitter now. Perfect. So it looks like it's ready to be configured. Okay, perfect. So I'm skipping the auto provisioning step, and I am going to go ahead and run through this configuration. So let's go ahead and do this. So it should populate, bring me to user exec mode and whatnot. Well, I'm sorry. It's going to, one thing I like about the Nexus too, it of course, it's going to ask me to log in and whatnot. So, and I can start configuring this bad boy and go and see what's going on. Okay, give it a second. Oh, you want me to skip again? All right, perfect. So we're in. Okay. First, let's see with the default. So typically, what I've noticed, whatever with the virtual Nexus 9000s, it's typically admin and no password. This is how I know. Yeah, cool. So it's the default config. All right. So let me go ahead and do my config again. And switch one. All right. Perfect. So let's start this thing. Let's enable some features. We need VPC. That's the purpose of this lab. We need LACP because we're going to create some trucks. And perfect. All right, so as you guys can see, my connections management interface that's needed for the VPC, and we need some some interfaces for the peer link, and that's going to be 1 and 2. So let's go ahead and bang this out the park. All right, so first I need to configure some IP addresses, and I just need to do it on Nexus 1. So I'm going to do this management interface 0. IP address 10.1.1.1/30. Okay, no shut. Perf. All right. With everything, trust but verify. Let's go ahead and ping. Let's go ahead and ping the other side. Ping the VRF. Make it management. Cool. I can reach switch 2. So that's what's configured on switch 2's management interface that is connected to. So perfect. All right. So now let's go ahead and configure the VPC domain. All right. Perfect. The role priority 20. Perf. All right. Here. Keep alive. Destination 10.1.1.2, which is the other switch. And the source is going to be 10.1.1.1 VRF management. Boom. So basically, I'm telling it, hey, here's the destination, here's the source, being my management interface, and the VRF we're going to use, the virtual routing framework we're going to use is the management VRF. So got that set. That's all good to go again. The other side is configured. Switch 2 is configured. I don't need to do anything. But I got to go ahead and now configure the peer links. So I'm going to hop out of here, interface Ethernet 1/1.2. And again, I love that I don't have to do interface range. That is crazy. Going to shut down, of course, these directions that I'm looking at now on somebody's blog post. I don't see, to shut down, but it's always best practice. From what I've learned, my previous jobs is whenever you configure a trunk, a trunk and anything with LACP or what have you, go ahead and just shut it down, configure it, then bring it back up. So now that I configured it has a trunk or what have you, I can't add any more changes to it on the Nexus, just Nexus, by the way. So now I have to go to the port channel and port channel 20 and port mode trunk. There we go. And VPC peer link. There we go. Perfect. All right. So that's done. And let's do some verification. So VPC brief. Okay. All right, and let's go to the secondary. So VPC brief. Secondary option. Oh, okay. All right. So this must mean it's acting as a secondary now, but its role that's configured is primary. So let me just go ahead and I'll look that up later and confirm, but I'm going to assume that's what it is. We are going to, configure the member ports. Let's do that. So member ports are the ports where an end device is connected. So basically another switch that's not part of the VPC domain. So that catalyst switch that I have down there. So I need to go ahead and configure a trunk for that. So let me go ahead and do that. So it's going to be interface. Ethernet 1/3, channel group 30, mode active. There we go. Interface port channel 30. Port. Port. To be safe. VPC 30. Okay. All right, so that should be good. Oops. And let me do span tree. So this needs to be the primary. There we go. Spanning tree VLAN. Almost jumped the gun real quick. Question mark is my best friend. Root and primary. Make it the primary switch. Going to do some STP calculations, send some BPDUs out on the broadcast domain. Give it a second. Let's give it a second. All right, perfect. Now, let's verify some spanning tree. Perf. All right, perfect. All right, so that's good. That's good. I wonder if it has a preempt. CP. You know what? While we're doing that, let's VPC configuration preempt. It should have a preempt command. Yeah. You know what? Let me look on some Google Foo. Uh-oh. Where are we at? Yeah. And preempt meaning like even, you know, since this came out, you know, I went ahead and configured priority and whatnot, but this is after switch 2 is already still up with the priority of 30. So I want to go ahead and make sure it goes back to being switch 1 by setting the preempt. Let me, if I could find it, if I can find the command. I like to verify whenever I do stuff, so give me a second. Sorry guys, it's taking a while. I really want to confirm. Okay. Oh, and I'm looking here, it got the ability to make it seem like it has one root switch. So that's pretty cool. But I'm looking for preempt. If I can ever find it. Okay, let's try another VPC low preempt. Oh. There we go. Well, boop, boop. Okay, so now let's do I trust what I did, but let's just do a verification. All right, so now it doesn't show operation. So that's probably what it was. It was operational secondary. This switch 1 was the secondary. At that point, it came up late, but now it's the primary. So now let's go ahead and do show VPC brief. Wabam. Cool. All right, so that's there. I'm happy. So now let's go back to our config to configure this. So I'm going to enable the feature interface VLAN. So this enable SVIs. So I'm going to do interface VLAN 1, and I'm going to do IP address 172.172.16.0.252, 25.25.25.0, and I'm going to pull up so Nexus VRRP configuration example. I Googled this a while back, so I'm going to go ahead and configure it right in front of you guys. Okay. All right, so I got that. So, all right, so first I need to enable the feature of VRP. Perfect. All right, VLAN 1. Okay. VRRP. And let's question mark this out. I'm going to say 1, and this is going to be the virtual address. So I'm going to make 132.16.0.254. So shut. And now that is up. And you know what, just to be safe, let's set the priority. And this is just some tuning. Uh-oh. I'm not able to. And okay. So Hive, okay. All right. And again. So shut. Perfect. All right, let's do the same thing. Config T, feature, let's enable VRP. All right, interface, VLAN 1. Okay, and we got VRP 1, address 172.16, 16.0.254, and pings might start working after I do this. Maybe not. All right, shut. VRP. Okay. One second, guys. Okay. Let's pause the ping. Let's pause the ping and let's troubleshoot this bad boy. Let's take a look at this switch. So ether channel summary. All right. Perfect. Let's see over there. let's do a ping. 172.16.0.253. Okay, so no route to host. Have a connection. Let's do show interface trunk. And everyone's allowed on the trunk. Okay. That should work. Let me show run. Boom. I think it is. Let's see, one. Would be hilarious. There we go. All right, and let's do a ping. So my interface is down. 172.16.0.250. 2. Okay, and so there we go. There we go. So finally went ahead and got it back up. And so just so you guys can see the config a little bit, I'm going to let the pings keep going. But as you guys can see, show run config. I want you guys to take a look at that. Let's see if that shows a proper one. Perfect, right? So I got VRRP configured right here. You can see domain, and of course, this is the root switch. Went ahead and configured that, right? So leave that right here so we can just compare config. And then, of course, we do show run. Yep, look at show run. Boom, same thing, right? And so port channel 20 is, let me get some color in this mess. Port channel 20 from the Nexus is right here, right? And so port channel 30, right? I'm sorry, port channel 30 from both Nexuses are going down to the Cisco switch, but port channel 1 from the Cisco switch 1 perspective is going to the Nexus switch 1. Port channel 2, all from the Cisco iOS switch 1 perspective, is going to switch 2. So as we can see, using VRRP, it makes it highly available. Of course, it can go ahead and respond to failures. And the last piece we need to do in this video, and I'll close the video after this, if we have a failure again, right? So if we shut down the switch, right? If we shut down the switch, I'm going to force that. Copy, run, start. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to force a reload, right? And this is just going to reboot the switch. Let's see what happens, right? So it should go through the booting process. But it should fail over, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it should fail over. So, okay, take a look. Oh, okay. So it has not failed over. And let's take a look at, okay, so it still has the root. I think that's what it is. So let's just go ahead and take this out altogether. And boom, boom. So Okay. So this is showing has broken. Okay. All right. So this should be the new root. And I'm going to take a look at which one. And let's see if the other one has failed over. It has not. Hold on. And it should. So I think it's a layer 2 perspective on a Cisco iOS switch. From what I'm looking at, let me pull it over here so you guys can see it. Let's just restart the space. Hold on. First, let's verify. Do show spanning tree. Ah, okay. So it thinks it's the root. Okay, because they can't communicate because it's okay. Okay. And there we go. So let's do this. Let's go ahead. And this looks bad because again, it's legit virtual. In a physical environment, it should automatically come back up. So let me go ahead and go ahead and flip these interfaces. Port channel 2, shut, no shut. Okay. That came up. What's that? Okay. And let's check the config. All right. Port channel 30. Channel 30. Okay, switch mode. Yep, port channel. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay, that should be fine. Let's take a look at this. Do show run. Okay, perfect. So that looks clean. Okay. Oh, so that would do it. I hope you guys saw that. The interface is shut down, so it's a layer 8 issue on my part. Let's get into that interface. Ethernet 1/3. No shut. That'll do it. That'll do it. That'll do it. So, okay, port channel is up. Let's see who is the master. So, VRRP, so that is the master. So, let's see what happens. Okay, so it said it's unreachable. There we go. All right, so little hiccups, but I had the interface shut down, so my bad, peoples. But as you can see, if both interfaces were up, if that interface was up, it would have reacted immediately to .254. So yeah, we're good. So VRRP does work as a failover solution. Had to do a little bit of troubleshooting, but this is a proof of concept. So hope you guys like it. It's a good implementation, and I hope whoever this is for, that it makes sense and what have you. All right, folks, later.